So I really thought that, maybe I've made a wrong decision. Chinese, we still don't buy. It's too early to do it now. It's just going to kill the bottom line, right?
Yeah.
So
I have a vehicle fleet of 17,000.
Not 17, no. It's a total fleet. In fact, I was just coincidentally just reading a message from my CFO that, we have 41,000.
41,000.
41,000.
And that's combined Thrifty and Dollar.
Thrifty and Dollar, two brands put together. 41,000 vehicles as we speak today.
Wow.
Westerners are more sort of inclined to lease cars or rent cars on a monthly or a long-term basis, whereas Asian mentality is more to own cars.
Own the cars.
There's a lot of customer anxiety factor in terms of whether they'll be able to get them charged or not, the battery infrastructure. So there's a lot of for short-term customers. Here people don't want to wait because in some ways we have spoiled them.
Hello and welcome to Century Conversations. My name is Yogesh. I'm thrilled to have with me Mr. Rahul Singh, Managing Director of the Car Rental Division at Almoosa Enterprises, overseeing both Thrifty and Dollar in UAE and Oman. Rahul is leading what's arguably one of the most dynamic mobility business in the region. We'll be taking innovation, digital transformation, EVs, subscriptions, and how mobility is evolving fast here. Let's jump in. Sir, thank you so much for coming and welcome to our podcast. I read here that you didn't really plan on joining the car rental business and it just sort of happened. Just share your story. How did it start?
Yeah, so it's long back, but I think it's around 1997, I think. So I actually joined the group, which is the Arenco group, Almoosa Enterprises. And that time they were not so much into marketing really in its right, as I would say. So they wanted somebody to drive their marketing. And I joined the group for in the marketing space. And we spoke a lot about it as what the plans were and what they wanted to do. And and I moved from, that time I was in India, in Mumbai, and I moved here. And but typically the way the organization was structured, it was more a finance-driven organization, right? And marketing wasn't really what they were, while they wanted to do it, but they were not really committed to it in terms of, pushing it through. And so within a very short span, I think 2-3 months, we figured out that this is not going to, it was not going to work. You didn't have the right resources, you didn't have the right people, they didn't want to invest in it. So for a variety of reasons, so I really thought that, maybe I've made a wrong decision and, so it went on, but it so happened and at that time they had this, so I expressed my displeasure and that, this is not going to work. And at that time there was an opportunity in the car rental business. At that time we had only one brand, which is Thrifty. At that time we didn't have Dollar at that time, and there was an opportunity in Thrifty to manage that business. So I said, okay, fine. So my background has also been in the services industry, whether it's air freight, shipping, courier, so multiple industries. So this seemed okay.
Which I wanted to know, that was there something about mobility which really excited you? At that point of time, did you really think that this is going to be a future? And
yeah, so at that time, obviously, I didn't really, and I would say that time I just sort of felt that I sensed that this has been my field itself. The service industry has been the field, and this may just complement that whole thing. And so I started off there. Obviously, at that time, I didn't think that this would last so many years, and it's been now close to 30 years now, so it's been a very, very long time.
I have a vehicle fleet of 17,000.
Not 17, no. It's a total fleet. In fact, I was just coincidentally just reading a message from my CFO that, we have 41,000.
41,000.
41,000.
And that's combined Thrifty and Dollar.
Thrifty and Dollar, two brands put together. 41,000 vehicles as we speak today. Right, and we are hoping to grow it to 50,000.
And so this is very exciting. You had your second thoughts, you had your doubts, and you moved on, and this has something which has become so big.
So big, yeah. So at that time we were pretty much and also ran in the industry. So we were, Thrifty is a global brand, but we were probably in here number 6 or number 7.
Yeah.
And then we started off, and today we are by far the largest in the business today.
And so you're leading this division from a leader perspective. When you started back then, I'm sure you have gone through this big journey. What was that one lesson which you learned in your past days, which is still helping you out to lead further?
I would say probably people, getting the right people, getting the right team in place, having the right people. I think I'm a firm believer that people make the big difference. You can have the best plans, but it's people who have to execute the plans and deliver, right? So having the right people, I think that's been the focus always.
And it's not easy, right, to bring the team which can actually align their vision and your vision together.
Absolutely.
And move on. And has it been challenging to find these people? Or
absolutely. It's been challenging, but that's the nature of the any that's what leadership is all about. Getting the right people. It's not only getting the right people, even holding on to them, right?
Yes.
Because they have their own aspirations. They have their own desires, right? So you need to keep pace with that and provide them that right environment to work. So it's very important to have them. But without that, I think the converse is that if you don't have the right people, you can have the best plans, it's not going to work.
Yes.
Right? So I think that's something which we've been strong at, having the people, having the right people, allowing them to function, giving them the freedom to operate themselves. In that space, and so then that's over a period of time that's helped and worked a lot, and results are there for see. So within 7-8 years, we were I think by early 2000s we were already the leading car rental business.
Yes, because in the beginning you said that there were a lot of things which you're not happy with. It was a struggling division.
Yeah,
in the beginning.
Struggling means it was just one of the arms of the business.
Yeah.
So, Renko is a big group, we're into real estate and so many things.
Yes.
So this was just one of the, things which we operated.
What was that big shift which must have changed everything? There must have been that one element which you brought in and that actually changed.
I think we started being more of a, I think, let's say, focused customer-centric and a marketing company than a finance-driven company, I would say, where everything was questioned from a finance point of view or a cautious approach that, it has to be driven by somebody who's driving a business, right, and grow the business. To some extent also because the real estate was so big in relative comparison to what it is, so it didn't really matter.
Yeah.
But now as we speak, we are a force to reckon with within the group itself, right, because the size itself is so big.
Yeah. You're expecting a 30% growth in 2025?
Yeah, so we are already, we are hoping to get there. We as of now the projections are that we should be closing in on that.
So building on that, I think car rentals here in UAE, very closely they are tied to tourism, right? Do you also look at the airport arrivals, hotel bookings at your early signals? Like at what point do you actually know that we are in a phase where the business might just take off, or a challenging headwind could come? Like what are those signals? Are you looking at mostly the arrivals of the tourists?
Yeah. So that's something we constantly monitor because obviously a large part of our business is renting vehicles to tourists and stuff. So we constantly monitor. Our own booking charts start indicating that, and obviously we have various tools which we analyze in terms of what the hotel bookings are, how the airline bookings are, how the fares are looking up, and various sources which we do. And our team, which is monitoring the demands, the demand curve, is always constantly monitoring. Our pricing also is based like any other thing, like an airline or a hotel. So our pricing also reacts to that basically in terms of how the bookings are faring. So if you suddenly have a peak period coming up in the next month or a event coming up next month, so our we can see the demand picking up and the bookings picking up for that.
In the first half of 2025, I think around 10 million tourists have visited Dubai. There must be a big tailwind for
absolutely. So Dubai is done a wonderful job, as we all know that for tourism, it's one of the great places to be visiting today. They've created it out of something which people was very difficult to sort of think of, right, or conceive of really. It's like even Vegas was built on a desert, right? But their USP was the gambling and the casinos and stuff like that, and then they added or whatever the other things into theater and drama and all that stuff, play areas for kids. But Dubai has done it. It's like become a family vacation place, right? So it's and even Abu Dhabi now is done that.
They're building every single thing. Yeah,
it's pretty much UAE is a pretty
So when tourists are arriving here, which is my next question, Dollar and Thrifty, you have two big brands which you're leading. What's the difference between both the fleets? And which is tied up to my next question, that the tourists, they're basically looking for flexibility when they are renting cars, or status, or convenience. Which one of them are you able to provide? Is it all three that
I think flexibility is a combination of flexibility and convenience.
Yeah.
So, flexibility in terms of the nature of offerings which we have, or the products which we offer, and how they tailor-made to the customer's requirements. Convenience is more related to, distribution points. I mean, we have close to, I think, between 70 or 75 distribution points across the country, right? Which our nearest competitor would probably have 10, 5 or whatever, right? So we are sort of, we are there in all the leading malls, all the airports.
Yes.
So you name all the leading malls, we are there.
What about the status? But I see a lot of big SUVs are lined outside Dubai airports.
That's that aspirational value. There's a lot of there's a lot of demand which comes out of people's aspirations, right? So they want to drive something bigger. So we cater to all of that, because we have as many as I would say about 25 to 30 different aspiration brands which we feature in our lineup, right? So people can rent them for short term, rent them for long term, and whatever period they want to choose for, right?
And you have provided flexibility for all of that.
So correct. So if you go to on our website today or check anywhere, you will see all these brands, ranging from somebody wants to drive a Volkswagen Golf, or a Mercedes C-Class, or a 7 Series, or a Nissan Petrol, or a Dodge Charger. Somebody wants power, who wants to drive a Dodge Charger 5.7 liter. So it caters to everything what the customer may want. That is the one where you said that it's more related to people's aspirations.
But just sometimes I've seen here, so that is one thing which you rightly said. Here in Dubai, even the best part is a lot of people who are residents, they would choose renting cars over buying cars, looking it as an asset which is going to depreciate in the future. They would rather prefer to rent cars. Is there a sort of percentage ratio, do you think, resident to tourism?
So not a percentage ratio. So two things there. One is that a lot of residents. So in our short-term side of the business, we have the regular daily, weekly rentals, which is less than a month, and then we have a category called monthly rentals also. So the residents tend to choose a lot of these monthly rentals because they are here, right? So they need a car on a month-on-month basis, and they can roll over every month and carry on. Or they choose a lease option, which is, they lease for a year or lease for 2 years or whatever they want. So we cater to both, right? So the customer doesn't want to commit for a longer period of time, and he just wants a car for a month-on-month, because for a variety of reasons, maybe he's going to take a break, maybe he wants to change his cars very often, so he doesn't want to commit to a long-term thing. So we provide to the monthly customers. So there are, as we said, there are a lot of residents choose monthly rentals, but the distinction probably more so is between leasing is more prevalent in the West, right? So Westerners are more they're more sort of inclined to lease cars or rent cars on a monthly or a long-term basis, whereas Asian mentality is more to own cars.
Own the cars, I understand.
Right? So it's that's the mentality that we need to own it.
Own it,
right?
The
depreciation and all, people don't really understand that actually what you need to consider is the total ownership cost. Whether you buy it or lease it, right? You should consider what your total ownership cost is. So when we are offering something, we offer something more than just what you do when you buy a car. So we offer hassle-free driving 365 days a year. There is no question of any, you're always mobile. So we keep you mobile throughout. We take care of the insurance, registration, all that stuff, right? Which is a hassle for anybody. So people need to add all these costs to arrive at whether really does it make sense. But nobody does that. We've started doing that now through an offering call where we call lease to own.
Lease to own.
Right. So if you are if you are today looking at buying a car, say you've already decided to buy a car, or you're looking to buy a car, we can give you the same solution, which means you can still be the owner of the car, but it will be a deferred ownership. So you start with leasing the car, and we give you a predetermined price at the end of the lease term, and you can own the car at the end of, say, 12 months or 24 months. So what then happens is that you got the advantages of hassle-free driving for the 12 months or 24 months you lease the car for, and you still have the option to buy the car. So you may choose not to exercise that option, and you say, I don't want to buy the car at the end of 24 months because I don't like the car, or whatever reasons you may have, or I'm leaving the country, whatever. Or you can choose to buy the car. You already know the price, so you can actually do we run them through a simulation in terms of costing, and we show them that if today you were to go and buy the car in an Al Futtaim showroom or in an Altair showroom, a Ford or a Toyota or whatever, this is what it's going to cost you, total cost over 2 years. And when you go through us, this is what it will cost you.
So more than service, it's an experience for somebody to come.
It's an experience, and actually quite often we are able to show them a saving. So you've got the advantage of owning the car. Actually, you're test driving the car for 12 months and then deciding whether I really want this car. And oftentimes, the total ownership cost we offer is lower than what you would have experienced. That comes basically because we buy, our pricing comes from more of economies of scale. When we operate at this level, everything we buy is cheap. Cheaper than what you would buy as an individual. Whether it's the car, whether it's the car price, whether it's the maintenance, whether it's the insurance, everything we buy is probably 20-30% cheaper than what you buy. Right. So, and we translate that benefit into the customer. So the customer is far better. He is still choosing the option to buy the car, but he has the flexibility not to buy, decide not to buy it.
So it's a very competitive industry, and since you're talking about prices, cost part as well. Back in few years ago, we saw that the chips market had a big shortage, which increased the value of a lot of used cars. Used cars were more expensive than
the world. The world,
throughout the world that was happening, and a lot of people they resisted even buying a used car or renting it. I think that was a time when a lot of companies must have faced these kind of residual risk. How do you manage that part?
So I think one of the reasons why we have been quite successful and very, very profitable year on year has been in terms of the identification and the purchase, buying the right vehicle. So I think that's the most critical piece in our business, buying the right vehicles. A lot of people, I've seen many companies, so just to give you a very layman example is that you can buy a car, the price may be the same. So if you buy, say, a Toyota Corolla, right? So you may buy it for, say, 65,000, and you may get another vehicle, which may be an American vehicle, which may be similar to it, and you still buy it for, say, let's say, 55,000, right? So the Toyota is 65,000, whereas this is 55,000. The key is to calculate the projected estimated residual value of the vehicle and the difference between the acquisition price and the estimated residual. So just to go on with that example, the Corolla is 65. After 2 years, it sells for 45 or 50, right? So the difference, the actual cost is 65 minus say 45, so 20,000. Whereas if you buy something for 55, and actual residual value at the end of 3 years is 25. So 55 minus 25 is 30k. So actually your total cost is, your ownership cost is 30k on the American brand, whereas 20k on the Toyota brand, right? But people don't look at that, right? People just look at, I'm getting it 10,000 cheaper, let me buy this. It's got good features, looks good, let's buy it. But for us, when we're running the business, when we're running into thousands of cars, this is the most critical piece. Buying the right car which holds in value and which is able to. And the second aspect is the liquidity, right? What I mean by liquidity is when you come across a crisis like, say, a COVID or whatever, right? Or a global financial crisis when the market just reels down. There are not enough buyers in the market. You can still... The Toyota will... You can have 100 Toyotas parked and they will sell. But if you have 100 Peugeots parked, you will have to go to Africa and sit in Africa to sell those vehicles, right? So that's the liquidity. So you need to also pass the liquidity test that in difficult times or where the market demand is lower, you should buy vehicles which are easily sellable, even if you have sort of bulk quantities. Whereas a lot of the other brands are not. So people don't look at this, and this is really, really impacts the bottom line, because if you have depreciation is a big cost. If you're not able to push the vehicles, you have excess vehicles carrying, you'll just go to kill the bottom line. So I think that's one thing which we've done very well, and we're not adventurous in buying new cars just because they're cheap or just because they've got features or something. We look at, trying out, even when we start with a new vehicle, we try out a few of them and see their whole life cycle in terms of running them, maintaining them, selling them, and seeing what the experience is, and then we start committing numbers, because when we buy anything, the numbers are big.
Yeah.
So we don't want to take a chance. So we try out, and then, so it's typical like Korean. Till a few years back, we were not buying Korean vehicles. But we tested them out over a period of time, and we have been probably late in buying Korean vehicles, I would say. In the last 3-4 years, we started buying Korean heavily. Chinese, we still don't buy.
You still don't buy Chinese?
No.
So how do you suggest that? Because a lot of people these days, they have a big fleet of Chinese vehicles, and I think a lot of people, maybe due to the look or the
features.
the features they have,
a whole lot of features. Yeah.
So is this something which you feel maybe in the future you're going to do it, or it just doesn't make sense for you right now?
So we'll give it time. It's too early to do it now, so we'll obviously watch things. So generally for these kind of vehicles, if and since we are big buyers in the market, so people, when the dealership or the manufacturers come to us, we tell them that they have to take the risk for the resale value.
Okay.
All right. So if they are willing to take the risk, we are willing to take it.
At this point of time, I don't think
we will not. Yeah. Correct. So we
it.
generally don't want to, because you see, for me, it can just kill the bottom line. If I'm going to buy 1,000 vehicles. Those 1,000 vehicles tomorrow are struggling, and I'm struggling to sell them, and I'm not getting the value. It just can kill the bottom line, right? So we cannot afford those chances.
So that's very right, and I see that where the leadership is very different here. I think what your company is trying to also do is create a whole different user experience where you're even educating people about how to make the right choice. And there's so much more than renting a car. I mean, until now, when I'm listening to you, before this, when we are thinking about car rentals, I never thought of this being so deep and so intellectual at the same point and making the right choice. I think this kind of experience which you are increasing, you went on and started something which was called Ticket Rewards Partnership, and that's the first in your industry. And how this idea came up? Have you seen these loyalty programs working in the same industry before?
Yeah, bits and pieces, but I think we've done as you said, we've been the first to sign up with the Buy Holding and the ticket program, and all these. We've seen that well-designed programs will always have can drive not only repeat purchase, but and actually influence customer behavior upfront.
Yes.
Right, and we've seen that, and that's why this has been so successful.
Dubai Holding has around 3,500 outlets. It's so much beyond.
So it's been very successful, and it's a great partnership, and we hope that it'll be there for do wonders for both.
Is that a hint that you are also tapping the lifestyle industry as well?
Yes, absolutely. So that's.
Is this a new division?
It's not new, but we're working on it.
You're working on it.
Working on it.
Okay.
Right,
So now the next thing coming in. Ride hailing and taxis everywhere. How do you make sure that car rental still feels like an experience, not just a commodity?
Yeah, so ride hailing and taxis are more, both are, ride hailing and taxis are more point-to-point transfer, right?
Yeah.
So, you pick up at point A and drop off at point B, right? This is typically what it is, right?
Yeah.
So since the span or, the time involved is much less. So, for example, if you're going and you're booking a taxi, you don't check out which car is it.
Yeah.
Right?
It's not that experience.
It's because it's too short a period, and you're saying I'm just going from point A to point B. But when you're actually renting a car, now you're talking about say a day or 2 days or 6 days or whatever you may be renting it for. So now the experience counts. I want to know which car it's going to be. I know it's comfortable or not. I want to know what the drive is. I want to know what the options are.
Let me drive a Mustang for the weekend.
Right, correct. Yeah. So you see the experience, because of the length of the rental, the experience becomes far more relevant, right? So that's always going to remain, right? Whereas ride hailing and taxi is going to be typically point A to point B. I just want to get here from here to here.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas the car rental, the renting of the vehicle is more of an experience. I want to drive that experience. I want to feel that experience, feel that comfort. I'm going to have it for 6 days. I must, I want it for my wife or my family. I want them to be comfortable in that car. So it's more of an experience. So that's the big distinction between the two.
Yeah. And so a lot of these ride-hailing taxis at this point of time, a lot of them are electric vehicles.
Yeah.
What's the ratio, if you can tell me, or just rough idea? You also are providing electric vehicles?
Yeah, we are for leasing. We are more into rental side. We don't really. So we have the rental side of the business and the leasing side of the business. Leasing side of the business is more of corporate leasing and personal leasing, which is individuals leasing cars. So on that leasing side of the business, we based on our customers' demand and customers' requests, we provide electric. But on the short term side of the business, we had bits and pieces, but there's a lot of customer not, I wouldn't say reservation, but anxiety factor in terms of whether they'll be able to get them charged or not, the battery infrastructure. So there's a lot of for short-term customers.
Does that make any financial sense to you from a business perspective? Does it something? Do you feel that in this region, EVs have been talked a lot about, right? Dubai Taxi put Tesla into their fleet, but it's been a while now. Do you think Dubai is catching up more on EVs, or do you think it has to do a little more to make sense for people to actually buy?
I think the infrastructure needs to be more for better. Sure, right? Because that gives the comfort back to the people. So from a cost perspective, if you look at our business, the cost of fuel is paid by the customer. So if you ask me as a business, it doesn't really cost, it's not a cost to us. But if the customer demand is such that they want to provide electric vehicles, so when somebody is coming for a short-term rental, right, he's looking at a 4-day rental or a 6-day rental. So again, the same concept comes that why does a long-term customer prefer an electric vehicle? Because he's looking at his long-term costs. Yes. Whereas a 6-day rental, he's talking about a 6-day fuel cost. Yes. Right? Plus he's looking at the anxiety factor. Am I going to get the charging infrastructure? What happens if this happens? So I'm worried on that. That's why that change will take a little bit more time. But it's happening. It's a matter of time.
As of now in Dubai, there are around 12 to 1300 EV charging stations, but a lot more vehicles than this. I think what you said is right.
So it's a matter of time. I mean, things are changing. Things are moving fast now. I think over the next few years we will see a lot more of that.
So as a veteran in the industry now, obviously you have adapted to different things from 90s till now. You must have seen a lot of things changing. User interface is changing, and so many things. Now, what is the future? Is it going to be, do you think that the next generation which is coming in, will they be like car owners? Will they be willing to own the cars, or they would love to lease the cars, or is going to be a mixture of both?
Well, I think it's going to be a combination, mixture of everything, right? And that's why we are, as I said, we are there in everywhere. So if somebody wants to rent, we can offer. Somebody wants to own, we can offer. Somebody wants short-term, we can offer. Somebody wants long-term, we can offer. So we try and cover all bases, right? So whatever somebody wants, we are. The subscription is another growing area, right? So, but it's going to be a combination of everything.
Well, you're prepared for all of that?
So we are geared up for most of them, right?
So Karasti and Move are also in the similar division?
Yeah, so Karasti is more into, I think, leasing of vehicles, whereas Move is more into rental of vehicles. And Move is by Al-Futtaim, right?
So as of now, we have established the fact that we are leasing, we are able to rent, own. What is the tech perspective over here? Because you introduced a lot of new updates. I've seen even the app has been brought in with new features, trying to create an interface for where the clients are more technically active as well. And I think every single industry now is adapting with the new technology. What are the new tech changes you're able to bring, how they are impacting the customers here?
I think the vehicle itself is quite tech. These days, if you look at it, they are quite tech, fully equipped with all the technologies bits what we have. But we are ourselves working on various bits in terms of the connectivity bit and improving the overall customer experience, delivering an experience. But I think most part of this is done by the manufacturers themselves, right? In terms of what we work is on the technology side in terms of in the webs, connecting our websites and the user experience and those kind of things we work on more. But I think on the technology bit, as far as the automobile is concerned, it's more driven by the manufacturers themselves.
So at this point of time, do you think when people come to a car rental store and the amount of time it takes for the customer representative to get the contract done, Are you also trying to make that time shorter, or do you feel that some technology can?
Absolutely. So we were the first to introduce on a checkout. When you take a vehicle, you check out a vehicle. It's like so you with noting everything. What's the fuel? If there are any damages on the vehicle? What's the condition of the vehicle and everything? To hand over and signed by the customer. So we were the first to have an electronic interface where the customer it's done through an electronic PDA, right? So the check-in, which is when you return the vehicle, and the checkout when you take the vehicle, is all electronic. We were the first to introduce that in the market, right?
And these things are not there. Like if you go to Europe and everywhere,
so
it is still very primitive. It's a lot of problems.
So we were the first to introduce that. So we obviously, that is a part of the customer experience, that how long does the customer have to wait, right? And Dubai sort of excels, the UAE excels in providing the customer experience, because here people don't want to wait, because in some ways we have spoiled them, right? So the hotel industry or the airline industry or whatever, right? So everybody wants the car immediately, right? So we also have to work towards that and provide that experience, that let him not have a long wait and then he's sort of unhappy with it, because that's what he expects from here. So if you go to, say, America today, and if you have 4 people standing in front, you have to wait for that half an hour, 45 minutes. You have to wait. There's nothing you can do.
We're trying to,
and you're fine with it, right? But here, people expectations are so high, and we've created that expectations to become so high. So it is, you have to live up to. It's not easy to live up to those expectations.
But I'm really glad you're taking that step, because at the end of the day, every process can be made better.
100%.
And I think if working towards that, using the current technology,
we need to constantly improve, and that's the real thing in our business. We need to constantly keep on improving, your processes and the way you do business.
So I think there are a lot of very important experiences we are understanding from this conversation also, that how every industry has a scope to get even more better. All you have to do is enhance the client experience. Before we wrap up the session, just a quick rapid fire. Boldest risk you have taken that has worked?
I would say one of the things which we did was that, so if you look at car rentals, I don't think even now, for somebody like you, if I would say that, does car rental have any place in, say, a mall? Do you think there is any relevance of a car rental in a mall, right? So the ordinary reaction from anybody would be, no, not really. What is what a mall got to do with it?
We mostly expect to be at airports.
But just to tell you now, as we speak now, so we started this journey with the malls in 2005 or 4 or 6 or whatever, around early 2000s. And we started, and the call which we took is that, this place is, malls is a typical, unlike, say, the West or anywhere, malls is a very important part of this region, right? And a lot of people visit there, residents, tourists, and everywhere they visit there. And why not give it a try? And so it's about trying. So that journey we started with the mall, with, say, 1 or 2 malls, and today, if you look at it, I think we probably are there in all the leading malls in the country. We don't have virtually any competition, because not only we have the first mover advantage, but we've sort of entrenched ourselves so deeply into it now, and it's a relationship now, whether it's with MAF or Himar or whatever, for 10, 15, 20 years now, right? So they also know that these guys are there here to stay. So something which probably it was not even conceptualized or what, not even things, we ventured into it, converted that into an opportunity, and today it's a very, very integral part of our business.
Because everybody, any tourist wants to go to Dubai Mall, any other mall, and this is how mall becomes a one-stop shop for everything.
And Dubai Mall, we have 2 locations, by the way. So it's not one, we have 2 outlets in Dubai.
So another one which we enter from the metro station.
That's the first one, and then the one is near in the Waitrose area, and that so we have 2 because it's so big. It's so big, so we have that.
So one underhyped mobility trend in UAE, something which is not being too hyped, but it's a good trend coming in.
I think as you said, the lease to own option. I think that's something which will really, really should be. We have very good traction on that, and we have very lofty goals which we've set to grow that business.
Very nice. And so last one, in a world that moves fast, what do you think the real currency is?
No, I would say people. I think people is the key, right? Without people, we're not going to get anywhere. As I said earlier, also have the best plans. They're going to not really work if you don't have the right people driving those plans. So I think that's been our focus, and that I think that's very important to have the right people. It makes the job much more easier. And people also, when I say people, also people who are self-driven, right?
Yeah.
It's because if you can't push somebody all the time, right? People need to be self-driven. They need to be passionate about their work. They need to, half the battle is won if you love what you do. So if you love your work, half the battle is won already.
So what you said is it's a very good statement.
Right.
The problem is a lot of people, they are there, but not necessarily love what they do.
So
but I think
So I think from my personal example, I'm saying that why I've been able to carry on here for so many years is because I still love what I do, right? And I constantly keep thinking on how can we do it better, right? And that's why that gives you the energy to drive yourself forward, keep going. Otherwise, it gets very, very monotonous doing the same things, over and over again, whatever you may be doing. So that's helped me.
You have shared so many great things to look any business from a different manner, and it's very progressive. And I feel that this is something which we need to hear more. This is just the last thing for our listeners. Investment is an important part, whether you do it in a business or how you decide where to allocate funds. From your personal investments, are you okay to just share a few of your experience? Where do you like to invest? Is it real estate or mutual funds or SIP, or what you do with your personal investments?
I'm more into financial investments, not so much into real estate personally.
So within financial investments like mutual funds?
Bonds or funds.
Okay.
Those are typically is where I've been more focused, or even stock market.
You have been active in stock markets?
Not active, but buy good scripts and just keep it. Right? So it can't be, and plus you don't have the time and energy, and probably not even the skills to analyze. So buy good stuff and just keep it, right? So long term it will pay off. Right?
And that's the key to any good business and good investment. Also.
No point in trying to time the market and beat the market. I mean, one can go through specialists like you and all, but that's what is brought me.
Definitely. Sir, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, my pleasure.